So welcome to today's CPD event, everybody. And today we've got Maxine Swingler, and Maxine is going to talk to us about staying connected, a toolkit for effective group work. Looking forward to it, Maxine.
Great, thank you, Sarah. Hi, my name's Maxine. I'm working on this with Gayle Pringle Barnes, but she can't be with us today. Just to double check, everyone can hear me and see my screen okay before I start. Lovely. Okay. Before I start, I'm also going to put a link to a SWAY in the chat. And this has got all of the links for today's presentation. Let me get that on you. Can't find the chat now. Hang on. There we go. Okay, so that one has basically got the slides and all the links to Mentimeter and the site itself and the resources. So you can kind of work through that when we're doing the activities as well. Okay. So this came out of a project that we ran with students, both as co-authors of the project and as student interns. And there was quite a big project team, and as I say, it's only myself and Gayle that are talking about these specific aspects today. What we'll cover today is get an idea from you who are here today what common issues you face in group work and in supervising students' group work. I'll tell you a little bit about the toolkit and where it came from, and then we'll spend the rest of the time on activities to try and engage students in the resources. So these are activities that I've used or Gayle's used, taking specific aspects of the toolkit and using them in either it could be an online group setting or an in-class setting. If you have any questions at all, just post your questions in the chat or put your hand up and I'll make sure we get to you. And the first thing I'd like you to do is to think about what aspects of group work do you find most challenging yourself. So when you're in a teaching collaboration, research or admin collaboration at work, and then also what aspects of supervising student group work do you find most challenging? So in your role as a teacher or even as an administrator, what is difficult about that? So I've set up the Mentimeter. You've got a link on the SWAY as well, and I'll put the link in the chat just in case. There we go. And the first question is the one about what do you find most challenging? Put one in the chat, and then the second question is what you find most challenging in your teaching of group work or supervision of group work. So I'm going to continue talking through the slides while you're thinking about that and posting your answers, and then we'll come back to those answers later on in the session. So group work, as you know, develops essential graduate skills. It generates communication, problem solving, all these really important skills that are sought by employers. And group assessments are becoming increasingly common, and the university group assessment policy was put in place a couple of years ago to recognise that. But actually, in terms of group work experiences and the students' side, students can find that one of the most challenging experiences that they have in university, particularly if they are working with a diverse group. They're having difficulties in getting people to contribute or scheduling meetings and so on. And equally, staff can find it challenging in trying to establish assessment criteria for group work and supporting group work where there's conflict. And of course, we also face the transition to online teaching in the last couple of years, which has meant a transition to wholly online group work for any sort of group assessments going on. So the project that I'm talking about today and the toolkit really emerged from Gayle Pringle Barnes and Cameron Graham's project, where they co-created some video resources with students on the common issues that they face in group work. And these videos were excellent. We really got good student feedback, very good student feedback. And we wanted to try and build on these by providing practical tools behind the video testimonials. So our aim really was to work in partnership with students in the whole process, from developing the resource to evaluating it, to look at what was working well in group work and group work resources, what wasn't working so well, where the gaps were, and try and create some recommendations based on the students' views and how they can use them both in an online and in an in-person and blended environment. So the focus in the development and the recommendations was very much about the process of group work as well as the product you get at the end of it, the assessment, and also how we deliver those resources and how best to engage students in that type of resource. And that's where we've got the SRC reps, student representatives on board to get their advice. So we used existing data, questionnaire data from the Cameron and Pringle Barnes study on group work, and that was across the university. We also had data from our own NSS responses and open comments on group work and psychology. And then we had some student-led focus groups from across disciplines at the university to try and find out a bit more from students about what was working well in groups, where they felt supported and where they felt they could do with some more support and what that might look like. So we came up with the group work toolkit. We piloted it first, of course, and got feedback, and then we launched it on Moodle. And it's organised roughly around the recommendations that we developed with the students. So an important aspect is organisation of groups, participation, allocating roles, knowing how to get started with the whole thing. Another important aspect was communicating, different styles of communication, how to collaborate, how to resolve conflicts. Also the online aspect in terms of just different tools and things that were out there to help them with that. And then also reflecting in group work. So what we'll do today is we'll pull different links and resources. They're mostly all on Sway or their videos from these different areas and work on them as if you were doing this as either an in-class activity, whether it's online or face-to-face, or a group supervision activity, or even something that you do online via Teams. So the first one is all about group roles. So kind of starting off with how do you divide up the different aspects of your group assessment, what needs to be done between now and the end of the assessment. And quite often we will leave that to the students, and that's fine, but sometimes having a bit of scaffolding behind that can really help get them going and help every student feel that they can contribute. So the main resource for this is templates for online group work. So the link for that is beside the slide on the Sway, so that you can get to it. If you do have any problems getting to the links and anything, just shout in the chat. And there are some example Microsoft planners. I don't know if anyone's used planners before. No. This was something we discovered just last year on Office 365, and they are actually pretty good. I've used them for the project to develop the group work resources. We used Planner because we have quite a big team, and then I've used them for some student group work as well. So they're freely available. There's templates there already. I'm just going to show you an example on the next slide, but you can go on and have a look at the templates using the links on the Sway. So here I've got one, this was to do with a qualitative methods project that I teach, and they do most of it in a group. So you set it up, you decide what the main aspects are of that group project, and then within that you add some tasks. You can either get the students to do it or you can do that. Yes, Anna, it's fine to use the resources with colleagues, and you can share the templates because they're already on the Moodle. The thing that you don't do is kind of change them. What you do is you go on to these little 3 dots here. You'll see it, when you click on that, you'll see join. So you join as a member, and you can see there's lots of members on this already. You'll then see, if you go back to the dots, an option to copy plan. And once you copy the plan, you can rename it as your own and then start to edit it and change it as you see fit. So I'm going to go back to the last slide here. So what I'd like you to do then in the next 10 minutes or so, yes, I would say it is much like Trello, but made by Microsoft. The good thing about it is because it's on the students' Office 365 accounts, they can just get into it and sign into it straight away. So there is that advantage, whereas with other bits of software, you have to give them separate links and so on. So thinking about a group assessment that you're involved in, what needs to be done in that group assessment? how each of the students could maybe contribute. Create your own planner. So do the join and copy plan, or you can just start one from scratch using your own Office 365 and try that out for your own group assessment. So take about 5–10 minutes and I'll go around if you've got any questions. And obviously you might not get it finished today, but we'll try it and see what you think before we move on. Here. Okay, 10. So if anyone is not finding the links or getting stuck, link to the sway, yes, I can do that. And you'll see the link to the planners. If you go scroll down this way, it's group activity 1, group rules. It's got the instructions and then it's got the links for the different templates. And there's 2 there. There's a psychology one, and then there's one on a group presentation, which isn't necessarily related to psychology, but you could do them on pretty much anything. And if you do come up with a really good one for your assessment and you would be happy to share it on the site, that would be fantastic. And that's great, seeing some people have already put in their challenges, which is great. Okay, Caroline, yes, but I'll just double check that I need to move, maybe I need to move it on to the next one before it will let you respond. Okay, that's great, it's working. So there's the first one, what aspects of working as a team just personally do you find challenging? And then the next question is, what aspects of supervising the student group do you find most challenging? Okay, so while we're just finishing up on the planners activity, we'll have a quick look at the answers from the poll at the start. So aspects of working as a team that you find most challenging: supporting quieter members, assigning roles, absolutely, finding times between meetings, getting the momentum going, coordinating contributions, keeping everyone in the group committed, no free riding. Yep, absolutely. And that, again, that distinction between the quiet ones and the ones that can talk over and talk louder, and when students don't contribute. So that moves on then to supervising student group work. Same sort of issue, that everyone's contributing both in the conversations and in the work itself, and sharing roles, allocating marks, transparency, marking the contributions as well. And then also just getting the discussion going. And yes, definitely feel that one about online rooms where people weren't sharing audio. So I had quite a lot of that last year. Fortunately, you can see them face to face this year in their smaller groups. So that's really interesting. We'll come back to those issues later on, but hopefully some of the issues with the contribution aspect of it can be helped with the kind of allocation of roles, whether it's using Planner or Trello or any other sort of software, but having something as a template to begin with that they can then go and adapt for themselves. And what I've done as well is asked to see it or done this activity in a class activity as part of a tutorial where they're working in small groups, so that you can see that they're actually talking about it and discussing it in the class, which can be helpful as well, because then you can see and you can pick up on if there's somebody that's not contributing or not feeling able to say very much. Okay, so I'll move on then to the next activity. And if people have questions about this one or want to go back to it, that's fine. Let me get my presentation. Okay, so this next one is about organising meetings. So sometimes it's something that we take for granted as working and running meetings all the time in our own work, but actually student groups can run up a lot of challenges in organising and running their meetings. So if you can identify 3 tips that students could employ to identify a suitable meeting time, so how they could go about that, how they could create and share an agenda, and then how they would be able to take and share minutes of the meeting. So things, again, that we probably do every day on a day-to-day basis, but actually maybe the students aren't doing as much in their own group work. The resource that's useful for this one is how to plan and structure a meeting, and that's in the Getting Started section of Moodle, and it's on the Sway as well. And there's also a Mentimeter question on this one, so we want you to share your 3 tips for students. For this one, I think I'm going to take you into breakout rooms, so I'll stop sharing as we've got about roughly 9 or 10 people, and we'll have 2 breakout rooms, and we'll just assign them automatically. And you'll be asked to go into your room and join your room. We'll do that for 5 minutes. So the idea is that you discuss with everyone in your breakout room what sort of things can groups experience in terms of organising meetings, the challenges, how could you maybe give some advice or tips to students to overcome that. Okay. Right, so I'll open the rooms and you should get an invite fairly soon. And again, all the links to everything are on this ways. Input on top tips for students in terms of organising meetings, things that maybe that you're doing that you would assume everyone else is doing as students, but maybe actually they aren't, and it would be helpful to do it. So the next one is all about collaboration. So one aspect, I'm sure you can identify with this if you marked any group assessments, is the actual final product can often feel a bit like it's been sellotaped together, in the sense that you've got different sections written by different people and it doesn't form a coherent whole. So what do you think would be useful for your group and your assessments to do to ensure that that is more coherent, that it is more than that collection of individual contributions, drawing on your own experience from, you know, writing collaborative research articles or any other teaching resources. Think about 3 steps any of your student groups could take that would help their output to be coherent. So there's a few resources that might be useful here. Again, they're all in the SWAY. There's the video, bringing it all together. There's a SWAY on collaborative writing. And there's also effective communication, part 1, and that does have some advice on collaboration. But of course, you'll have your own knowledge and experience to bring to that. And again, we've got the Mentimeter there. It's activity 3, collaboration. And if you can identify, after you've gone and done your group discussions, what 3 steps a group could take, and then pop them on the Mentimeter, and we'll have a look at them later. So I'll put you back into your rooms again. And again, all the instructions are on the SWAY. So you can go back to that, and this one is activity 3. Link again, and then I'll archive that, and I can send it all to Fiona or Sarah, and hopefully then can share it with you. Okay, I think that's everyone back now. Lovely. So we were talking about collaborative writing there and different issues, and just assessing the process as well as the end product. And we've got quite a few good discussions going around that. The next thing is reflecting on group work. And this one, I think, is one of the hardest things to do. I've done it with groups in a class setting last year and this year. But it's kind of trying to address any issues while they're there in the room with you, and you know, what they do afterwards, what's the next step. So we usually start with asking them to sit on their groups and talk about what's working well in the group, why is it working well. And then for this exercise here, in the students' exercise, we would say, you know, why do you think it's not working so well? What's going on? It could be something like communication or trying to organise a meeting. But what I would like you to do is think about the common challenges that we talked about in the first 2 slides, and Mentimeter, whether it's challenges that you face or whether it's ones that your students face, and just think about what do you think is behind that. So if there's people not speaking, or there's people who are speaking too much and not others, or not contributing, why do you think, what's going on in the background behind that? And what do you think the students could do to try and improve it? Are there any practical solutions? Are there any resources? And maybe also, is there anyone that students can go to for support other than the lecturer, or the course lead, who then has a lot of groups to supervise and can't spend a lot of one-to-one time? And then you would ask your group to conclude with an action plan. And normally we would do this, if it was in person, the tutor would go around the groups and talk through these questions and their plans, and help them and provide advice where needed. Or you could do it in breakout rooms. We did that last year as well. So there's a few resources you can point them to. There's reflecting on group work. There's an example from a student who did this. And also there's some on the SWAY on addressing issues in group work that might be helpful. So it'd be really interesting to hear your thoughts on this. I'll put you into breakout rooms again for this one. All the links are on the SWAY. So, okay, thank you, Cosma. I'll do that. It doesn't like it unless in advance. So I'll do that once I've got you into breakout rooms. Okay, here we go. Okay, welcome back, everyone. I will make sure that you can see all of this in the whatever post workshop materials we can share with you, but just so that you can see yourself, organising group meetings, milestones were mentioned. Let's see, and reflecting on group work, some really good suggestions, conversations about using reflective diaries as part of the assessment, or a reflective workbook. and maybe how you can use that in the final assessment. So thanks very much everyone for your contributions. I've learned a lot as well. I'm going to just show you my last slide about using the resources. And then if anyone has any questions, feel free to ask in the chat or just shout. So you can use the Moodle and the Sways. Anyone from University of Glasgow can enrol in that Moodle. You don't have to have an enrolment key. We're quite happy for you if you want to use one of the Sways and edit it for your own teaching, you can do that. You can just go to duplicate. All we ask is that you put us as the original authors down at the bottom. If you've got anyone outside of the University of Glasgow you think would want to use the resources, we've got a version of it on the online Open Moodle. But most of all, we'd just really like to hear about how you use any of these resources, if you adapt them, how you adapt them, what ideas you have for things like assessing the collaborative part of group work and the process, because this is very much a work in progress. So do contact Gayle and myself about that. It'll be really interesting to hear from you and what you find. Does anyone have any questions?
I think we should all just say a huge thank you to Maxine. I really enjoyed that. That was absolutely fabulous. And I'm going to be sharing the resources with people all over the place, particularly the Active Learning Network.
Lovely, thank you. Thanks, I hope you got something out of it. I certainly did. It was good to talk to everyone about group work. So have a nice rest of the afternoon. Don't get snowed in tomorrow. I'm hoping I'm not going to be. And maybe see you another time. Bye for now.
Bye.
Thank you.